Luke Broadwater covers Congress, the New York Times, where he has new reporting on Bannon's attempts to testify before the January 6th committee. Luke, it's good to have you. First of all, just tell us what was this hearing today?
Right. So this was a motions hearing today to try to get, Steve Bannon was trying a number of defenses out, trying to delay the trial, trying to offer different defenses. And the Justice Department, one by one, won on basically every motion. So Steve Bannon left the courthouse and his attorney said something along the lines of, how are we even going to put up a defense when we can't make any of our arguments? So it was a pretty resounding victory today for the Justice Department. And I think it showed that this last-minute attempt by Steve Bannon to say that he was now willing to cooperate at the last minute after fighting the subpoena tooth and nail for many months was seen as a ploy by both the Justice Department and the judge. And in fact, the Justice Department argued successfully that this was essentially irrelevant, that the crime had already been committed when he failed to show up for his subpoena, that there wasn't sort of a do-over that he could do right now.
Yeah, there's an amazing moment happened. So he wants to argue. Basically, there's a hearing here about delaying the trial and also what defenses he can mount. And one of the defenses he wants to mount is, look, I can't talk because of executive privilege, right? That's the claim he's put forward. And they have this letter from the ex-president's lawyer saying, like, there's no privilege claim from our end here. And so Judge Nichols read a follow-up from Trump attorney Justin Clark, which stated in his initial letter, didn't indicate we believe there is immunity from testimony for your client, meaning the guy you're claiming privilege on behalf of says no good. As I indicated the other day, we don't believe there is. So when Bannon's lawyer, David Schoen, objected after the ruling, what's the point of going to trial if there are no defenses? Nichols, the judge, simply answered, agreed. This is a judge basically saying, knocking out their possible defenses one by one. Bannon's lawyer says, well, what's the point of a trial? And the judge says, yeah, you should ask yourself that. We start a week from tomorrow. That was basically the hearing.
It's a pretty damning comment from the judge, and I think everybody realizes how much trouble Steve Bannon is in if he lets this go to trial next week. I mean, the evidence just seems like such a clear-cut case. Now, I did hear from a couple of people that thought maybe if Steve Bannon were to plead guilty and then testify fully and honestly and turn over all the documents to the January 6th committee, that would be his best hope of avoiding jail time, that maybe the judge would look favorably on those actions. But, as of right now, basically this whole weekend, these letters he's been sending and the evidence he tried to put forth, it doesn't seem to be working for Steve Bannon.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, right? So the judge, I mean, he's facing actual jail time here. I mean, if he's convicted, right? I don't know the maximum. Is it a year that he's facing? 6 months, something in that ballpark?
It's 2 years. It's 1 year for each count, and it's up to $100,000 fine on each count too. And as the Justice Department revealed in this filing just this morning, they had spoken with just recently, I think about a week ago or in late June. They spoke with Justin Clark, one of the lawyers for Donald Trump, who basically said that Bannon and his attorney had been misrepresenting the claims of executive privilege all along. And they had not actually given them those assurances that Donald Trump actually did invoke executive privilege over his specific testimony and documents. And so, I think that really undercut any argument they were making.
Yeah, I want to read again from your reporting here, because just to be clear here, he doesn't show up for his deposition, and the claim they put forward is we're not doing this, because of executive privilege, right? The ex-president has a privilege claim here, and I'm covered under that because I was counseling him, whatever. That's really legally dubious as a matter of law. But then Trump's lawyers have come forward to say, like, it's factually not true. It's not just it's a dubious theory, like, you made that up. Here's your reporting. Prosecutors disclosed they had recently interviewed Justin Clark, a lawyer for Mr. Trump. They said Mr. Clark told them the former president never invoked executive privilege over any particular information or materials, and that Mr. Bannon's lawyer misrepresented to the committee what the former president's counsel had told the defendant's attorney. Final question for you is, do we know where the committee is in terms of, I mean, the committee clearly still wants his testimony and particularly the documents. What the status of that is?
The last I heard, the committee was discussing how to formally respond to Steve Bannon. I think there is a lot of skepticism among the members I've talked to. They view this as potentially a ploy. That said, Steve Bannon is potentially an important witness. As the clips you played to start the show that he seemed to have some sort of understanding ahead of time that January 6th was going to get quite crazy. Right. And he did meet at the Willard. He talked to Trump one-on-one. So he does have things to say. The question is now, will they have him come?
All right, Luke Broadwater, who has some great reporting about this in the New York Times today. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.